Armada Kickoff is brought to you by Community First Credit Union, Winn-Dixie, Baptist Health, Bowden Eye and Associates, Brumos Automotive, and Coastal Spine and Pain Center.
Hello and welcome into Armada Kickoff. With 4 matches left in the regular season, the Armada are still pushing for that 4th and final postseason spot of the NASL Championship. We'll take a look back at last week's loss in Carolina and look ahead to tomorrow's big game against FC Edmonton. We'll
also take a closer look at the right back position for the Armada, a position that has changed quite a bit this year in terms of personnel and responsibility. Plus, Bob Veal is back and he'll join us in the boot room.
Plus, we'll have Andy Kidd and Mauricio Ruiz joining us in the Analyst Roundtable to discuss what it all means. But we'll start with a big loss on Saturday. In his first 2 matches as interim head coach, Eric Dade had things about as good as you could want. A nearly full squad, playing at home where the Armada rarely lose, and with renewed energy and enthusiasm. But it can't all last. This past Saturday, the Armada were on the road in Carolina and playing without 3 starters, Pascal Million, Sean Nicola, and Mishak Jerome, who were away on international duty. Dade trying to formulate a plan that would work with the Armada shorthanded early on. It was T. Cipollani getting the shot away and nicely cleaned up by Lucas Trejo on the back line to keep it at a 0-0 contest. Watch this little scoop pass from Barrett to Keita. Looked like it gave the Armada the lead, but the flag was up. Offside called on Keita. It was very close, but it remained 0-0. Later, the long ball to Jamal Johnson. Jamal very active in this game. Got the shot on goal, but Akira Fitzgerald with the save for Carolina. Then 36th minute. Nazmi Al-Badawi finds T. Cipollani, and Cipollani from just at the edge of the box gets it past Miguel Gallardo to make it a 1-0 contest. Look at Al-Badawi setting things up. He had a big game this week for Carolina, and it's Cipollani who finishes things off. He is the guy to watch for Carolina. Later in the half, beautiful through ball here from Akil Barrett to Keita, but Akira Fitzgerald off his line, comes out, makes the save, keeps it as a 1-0 contest. Al-Badawi, Cipollani, Daniel Jackson continue to push. And here's the goal to make it 2-0 before halftime by Al-Badawi. He had a big performance on the week. 2 goals and an assist for Al-Badawi in the contest. Second half now, Miguel Gallardo coming up huge to give the Armada a chance. Save on the breakaway by Cipollani here. Take another look at it. This one hit off the upper shoulder, chest area. Thought for a minute it might have gone off the face, but Gallardo with the save with the chest. And then Daniel Jackson again, and Gallardo again with the save. And now Al-Badawi, well, he was just a factor all game long with the assist here. Trying to feed it in, and Gallardo again coming up big. Time after time after time, Gallardo came up big. Armada trying to push, a little bit of frenetic action here. Jamal Johnson, the shot on goal. Keita tried to clean it up, but couldn't quite connect with it. And it goes on to be a 3-0 win for Carolina. All 3 contests between these 2 sides this year ending in clean sheets. 2 for Carolina, 1 for the Armada. And you take a look at the numbers here. Possession pretty dramatically at the bottom there in favor of the Armada. They just didn't get enough shots away, and certainly were missing some of those players who are away on international duty. We'll keep an eye on the yellow cards. With 4 matches to go, Jamal Johnson picked up his 3rd of the fall. You don't want to lose him in these key matches with the Armada, basically in a do-or-die situation the rest of the way.
The fair and fair man of the match last weekend went to New Jersey-born forward Jamal Johnson. He adds tons of experience to the Armada roster from the Premier League and the NASL, having played for the New York Cosmos and Fort Lauderdale Strikers. With 5 goals, 2 assists, and second in minutes played for the Armada, it's no doubt Johnson is a key member of the team. And although it was a tough night in Carolina, Johnson kept the momentum going throughout the entire match. He continued to threaten the Carolina goalkeeper with 3 major scoring opportunities that were barely stopped. This marks Johnson's 5th man of the match mention.
Under interim head coach Eric Dade, several players on the Armada roster are playing in new positions and taking up different roles, especially players like Fabricio Ortiz and Matt Boehner. Krissty and Andaur caught up with them earlier this week to hear their thoughts.
Fabricio Ortiz has started at center back for most of the year with the Armada, but once interim head coach Eric Dade came onto the team, he decided to try something new and put Ortiz at right back. And Ortiz says he's actually pretty familiar with that position.
He jugado de lateral en Argentina, pero cuando llegué acá llegué de central. Me acostumbré a jugar todo el año de central y cambiar una posición de que jugaste durante todo el año, tirarte de lateral es complicado. Más, digamos que una posición no tan nueva para mí.
Matt Boehner has also switched roles, starting at center back for the past few matches, but he says the roles and responsibilities aren't so different. Each defender depends on one another.
They're maybe a little bit more similar now. We're trying to, be a four as a unit, and like I said, just pick and choose the times when it's right and when it's on to go forward as an outside back, and when it's going to help the team, and then when you need to tuck in, and when the left back goes forward, that's something that we're focused on.
The Armada have really struggled with their back four and finding what works best, but Boehner says it's all a work in progress.
Defensively together, we're really just kind of trying to, stay more compact with one another and really work off one another as a whole defense. Right back, we're not doing as much attacking, at the same time as both outside backs go at the same time, really picking and choosing when you go. So that, that's really kind of something that we've been focusing on. Just wanted to shore up the back line, not give up goals.
With 4 matches remaining in the season, the Armada are still in contention for the final playoff spot, but their margin of error is very slim. As Cole tells us, it's do or die time for the Armada.
After the disappointing loss Saturday in Carolina, the Armada have their backs against the wall. They have to win out and get some help in order to make the playoffs. But this is a group that seems determined to be focused, ready, and turn in a good performance on Saturday.
I think preparing ourselves now for the next game is as good as possible. Hoping for some upsets within the league. And then just, doing our job and doing the best we can do to put ourselves in a good position to maybe still have a chance.
For some of the veteran players, Saturday offers an opportunity to show the character of the team, to show the fight, the heart, to show the fans that they have something worth turning out for.
I think the idea here is to know that we have players with a great character that are going to get up from difficult results, from difficult situations. They think the best way that we can approach this is learn from all that's happened and try to have a positive mind and enjoy the game and try to show our fans, quality football game this weekend, and hopefully get a result and give them something to be proud about.
It's not where the Armada hope to be with 4 matches remaining, but to still be in playoff contention in their first season in the league certainly is a testament to the kind of work that they have done throughout the course of the year. For the Armada, Saturday is a chance to prove that they are still contenders.
Now we just have to keep going. We're coming into the stretch, and we just have to win games, get points, as many as we can, and just see what happens from there.
The Armada are home this weekend against the Eddies of Edmonton for another Pink Out match in support of breast cancer awareness. Then on Wednesday night, October 21st, they take on the other Canadian side, Ottawa Fury, for College Night. They travel up to Edmonton on the 25th and return home for the last match of the year on November 1st against the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. But first, the Armada must get through FC Edmonton, a team they haven't seen since the beginning of the spring season. Cole has more on this weekend's opponent.
FC Edmonton struggled out of the gate, winning just twice and finishing 10th in the NASL spring season. But in the fall, they have the league's 4th best record and have vaulted themselves into playoff contention. The Eddies opened the season here in Jacksonville in that memorable 3-1 Armada victory. It's the last time the two sides met. They're led by a pair of dynamic playmakers, midfielder Lance Lang, who leads the club with 8 goals and 7 assists, and goal-scoring forward Tomi Amiobi, who has scored 7 goals himself. Both players are in the top 10 of the league in goals scored, and Lang figures to be a Golden Ball Award candidate. The Eddies can't clinch a playoff spot for themselves on Saturday, but they can eliminate the Armada with a win.
It's that time again. Current season ticket owners can renew, and those who want to become season ticket owners can join for next year for as low as $10 per match, and you are guaranteed at least 17 matches for 2016. Call 844-2-ARMADA or online at armadafc.com.
Coming up next, we go around the NASL. 2 teams have clinched playoff spots. Now it's 3. That means there's 1 more spot to play for.
Plus, Bob Veal joins us back in Bob's boot room. Stick around. More Armada Kickoff is straight ahead.
Three teams have clinched spots in the NASL Championship, but there's 1 more spot up for grabs with 8 teams still in contention. Let's go around the NASL. Let's start in Indianapolis. Over 10,000 on hand to watch Indy 11 and the San Antonio Scorpions. 79th minute, game is tied. Chris Turpak scoring his 2nd goal in as many games. San Antonio regains the lead and the 2-1 victory.
The defending champions still with a mathematical chance of advancing to the postseason. Tampa Bay and Ottawa. Tom Heineman's 8th goal gives Ottawa the lead just before halftime. Playing with 10 men and running out of time, Tampa Bay gets the equalizer in the 88th minute. Watch Freddie Adu finding a scoop to Brian Shriver. 1-1 the final. Ottawa has lost only once in its last 22 matches. Minnesota United and Fort Lauderdale strikers Pablo Campos got the scoring started for Minnesota United. Daniel Mendez scored as well. Minnesota unbeaten in 11 matches with a 2-1 victory over the Strikers. New York Cosmos and FC Edmonton. This was all New York. Sebastian Guenzati scored in the 37th minute. Then just before the half, Raul with his 7th goal of the season. Ruben Bover also added one. The loss for Edmonton left them 1 point shy of the 4th and final spot in the chase for the championship until their match on Wednesday. And that's when things changed. Tied at 1 late in the contest. Austin Duluth to Nacho Novo for the goal for Carolina. Railhawks win it 2-1 and improve their standing in a race for the championship.
You take a look at the standings at this point. New York Cosmos, Minnesota United, Ottawa Fury have all clinched a spot in the postseason. Right now, Ottawa leads the fall table. This is the combined table you're looking at here. So those 3 teams are in. The real battle. Everybody else coming into this weekend is battling for that spot that Tampa Bay holds right now with 35 points. Not a lot of margin for error for the Armada. They have to climb up from 27 to 38. So here's how it stands. If the Armada lose, they're out. If they win and Tampa Bay happens to pick up a couple extra victories along the way, they're out. Not a lot of margin for error. The Armada need help to make it there, but they're still alive with just 4 matches remaining. Now let's head to Bob's Boot Room, presented by Nike. Krissty, who is that with you?
Penny, who were playing, where we're playing.
Yes, Cole, look who I have here with me. Bob, welcome back. We missed you, but let's get right into it. 3-0 loss against the Carolina Railhawks due to lack of discipline, you'd say, in the back?
Yeah, if we're going to play this really defensive game, which Eric Dade likes to do, then we cannot make mistakes in the defense because we're going to get very few chances up front. Let's look at some of that game. This is in the 8th minute here. A little crossbar, and Nurden comes in to make this tackle there and misses the tackle altogether. Ill discipline. He should have stayed back. Now we're open.
Under pressure.
Didn't go in, under pressure, kicked away. He should have hung back on that. Again, here, Ortiz playing out of position, goes in for the tackle, goes to ground, misses it, and we're under pressure again. That should have been a goal. So 2 mistakes in the first 17 minutes. Here, Akil Barrett loves to run at people, but he's got to understand that to his right is Castillon running through.
For the through ball.
So he just pops it through. There's times when he can't go through 2 or 3 players. This is Trejo making one of his very few moves forward. Passes it out, starts to move off, and what does Trejo do? Drops right back again, leaves 3 up front on 5 players. We did not support the front 3. Here again, this was one of Armada's best plays, I thought. Knocking the ball about. Here goes out to Trejo. He's going to play it forward to Jamal, cuts inside.
Akil,
and Akil plays it on to Castillon. Great move into Cater, and unfortunately offside. But one of the best moves of the game. That's how to split that defense down. And here again, we're playing from the back, but long balls, no midfield at all. Long ball,
straight to a defender.
Easily defended by Carolina. And this is Bocci running at them, who came on as a sub, but just out of sync with Cater and Barrett.
So I think it was tough for the Armada not to have Pascal Million, Meshach Jerome, Sean Nicolau.
You really can't play in this league with 3 of your first teamers out, and that showed.
Absolutely. Well, they're back this week and this weekend, so hopefully they will play. They face FC Edmonton tomorrow night. Back to Cole.
Coming up, it's the Analyst Roundtable. Andy Kidd and Mauricio Ruiz join me to talk about the Armada and what's happening with U.S. soccer. Stick around. More on Armada Kickoff straight ahead.
tomorrow night's match against FC Edmonton will be another pink out match in support of breast cancer awareness. The boys in blue will be wearing pink for the last time this month, and then the jerseys will be auctioned off. Part of the proceeds will go to the American Cancer Society, so don't forget to wear your pink. The Armada Social Rewards program is a great way to stay connected with the team and earn free stuff. Yeah, I said free. All you have to do is log on to armadasocialrewards.com, create an account, link your social media accounts, and start earning tokens. And each week here on Armada Kickoff, we pick a random winner, and congratulations to Christian Schneider. You've won 2 tickets to the next match. And now let's head over to the roundtable presented by Subway. Cole?
Players that you can switch around, and we're going to be very strong.
We saw a lot of different players, a lot of different lineups.
All right, thank you, Krissty. Here on the Analyst Roundtable, Andy Kidd and Mauricio Ruiz join us. All right, the Armada, 4 matches to go, trying to make it to the playoffs. Andy, can they do it?
They can do it, but I think the Armada really at this point need to just focus one game at a time. You don't control your own destiny, so you just worry about that next game. And if you get 3 points and you get another 3 points and some things happen in the background, so be it. But you're really just trying to get some positive momentum right now.
And that's a positive thing when all you can worry about is yourself because you can't focus on what the other teams may or may not do. So it's an opportunity for you to just kind of narrow in on what you're capable of and fix some of the problems that this past 3 games have presented and just improve on the next out.
You know, you talked about the past 3 games with Eric Dade, but really, you look at the first 2 games when they had their international players, Pascal Million and Meshach Jerome and Sean Nicola, looked like a whole different team. How important are those guys?
Well, they're important. I think what we're seeing now is that once the team is established and who works, then the lack of depth now in certain positions really starts showing a little bit. Now that the players that showed up aren't capable eventually, but you can replace Pascal for anybody else. You can't replace Meshach for anybody else. And Nicola, we've noticed from the beginning of the season when he was absent, there was a little bit of a turnover in that right back position. He's so important.
Right, he is important. And, you know, and kind of piggybacking on what you're saying, Mauricio, is, you know, it wasn't so much the lack of the guys that weren't there, but the guys didn't take the opportunity, that had the opportunity to show Coach Dade and the staff that they could handle it. They could step into that role, and we wouldn't skip a beat. The Armada wouldn't skip a beat. They'd, you know, be able to step it up. But, you know, that was a missed opportunity for those guys.
Well, very few teams can replace 3 guys.
Sure.
You might be able to fill a gap with 1 or 2 possibly, but to replace 3 starters that have such a heavy load early, it's tough.
Yeah, and we saw it, I thought, very clearly in Carolina. Talking about Eric Dade, with 4 matches to play here now, what does he have to do to really solidify himself as a candidate to go from interim to at least be in the conversation about the permanent replacement?
I think he's got to show consistency, you know, in the way that they play. You know, you can't control what you have and what you don't have from a player standpoint, right? You can't control the fact. I think our ownership and everyone around needs to see the fact that we have 3 guys that are missing from international call-up, which is a positive thing, too, to have a team that has that kind of quality. So he's got to show consistency in that he can rebound from a bad.
Yeah, he needs to show that there's buy-in from the players into his system. And what that looks like to me is that they don't, you know, they're not throwing the towel in at the end of the year. They're playing hard all the way through the last game. Even if they're out of the playoff hunt in that last game, they're playing hard for Eric. They're playing his philosophy. They're keeping the ball out of the back of the net. They're making it hard to get through them. And going on the road and getting a W, doing something the previous regime couldn't do.
Has not been able to do.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about a team looking for some answers. The U.S. team right now is looking for some answers. You wonder how that whole relationship with some of the players and Jurgen Klinsmann is working right now, Andy. Where is this thing going?
It's not in a good place right now. I mean, that's the Captain Obvious. But they had an opportunity in the Gold Cup to qualify for Confederations Cup, and they missed it, came in 4th place. Then they come back with the play-in game from Mexico on your home soil and lose 3-2 in a game that really wasn't that close. You know, the scoreboard kept it close, but on the field it wasn't. So, things aren't looking good. I mean, I was a Klinsmann guy going into the World Cup and even after the World Cup a little bit, but the momentum from that point on has really gone downhill. And we just lost to Costa Rica, too. Right. So, I think the player development is the thing that I see is lacking right now, the U.S. player development. If you look at the roster, it's not really changing over much.
And you said home soil. I mean, that was about a split
yeah,
of
right.
crowd.
Technically.
In Pasadena. But I agree with you. I think the moves that he has made and some of the call-ups from selecting an all-young group and then selecting an all-veteran group, there hasn't really been a lot of consistency in who's playing this year. So I think that's kind of where you see the fallback from game to game. In the Mexico game, in the play-in game, all veterans played. Beasler hadn't played since the World Cup, and all of a sudden, Beasler's in there.
Right.
Jeff Cameron, which is an everyday start in the EPL, was playing right back until this game. So there hasn't been a lot of consistency who's been playing there. And the player development, if you're going to develop players, then develop them for the next World Cup. Then why are you playing Jermaine Jones? Why are you playing Clint Dempsey? Guys that probably won't be in the next World Cup.
Andy Kidd, Mauricio Ruiz, thanks so much. Coming up, the Armada players continue to work hard and will prove it as we enter the Twitterverse. Stick around. More Armada Kickoff is straight ahead.
Group tickets is a great and affordable way to come out and watch the Armada at Community First Park. You get the best possible price, especially if you have 10 or more. Remember, the Armada have only 3 home matches left, so don't be left out. It's time to dive into the Twitterverse world to see what Armada players and fans were up to this week. Here you see Section 904 made the trip up to Carolina, and they say no matter the result, they are always supporting. Pascal Millian on the airplane coming back from a long trip from Houston and Brazil for international duties with Haiti. Here's a picture of Toby, Sierra, and Keita where the caption says, "Someone once told me all 3 of us look alike." I don't really know how that works.
Sure about that.
And here you see Marcos Flores earlier this week on the chat talking about his godmother, who is actually a breast cancer survivor. What a great thing for Marcos to go on that show and talk about his godmother.
So many of us have been touched and had women in our lives touched by breast cancer. Great the Armada is showing that kind of support. And again, they will auction off those pink jerseys following the match. It'll be online. We'll give you the address to go online and bid on those jerseys and have a little piece of Armada history as well. You get the very latest on the Armada on ArmadaFC.com. Remember, every Friday at 3 on radio, Sports Radio 930, it's the Armada Soccer Show.
The Armada hosts FC Edmonton at Community First Park, and you can watch it right here on CW17. Pre-match coverage starts at 7. Kickoff is at 7:30. Then a quick turnaround. They'll host the other Canadian side, the Ottawa Fury, on Wednesday night. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Krissty Andaur.
And I'm Cole Pepper. We're going to leave you with some fancy footwork from Armada forward Tyler Williams. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.